And making that kind of a goal in your race. So it might be, I'm going to smile every mile. Every time I go through a mile marker. It's a really nice, cute mantra to use.
Smile a mile. Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Quarantine to Qualifier here on the Running Channel, the series following my training as I try to achieve my biggest running goal to date, running a Boston Marathon qualifying time at Berlin Marathon this autumn. So with the help of Adidas and a team of experts in nutrition, sports psychology, strength and conditioning, and a running coach, I will be trying to run under 3 hours 30 in Berlin. So last time, it was 10 weeks to go and had a very disappointing long run. But after a pep talk from Adidas athlete and Team GB marathoner Charlotte Purdy.
Try to make every day count. So even if it's just the smallest thing like a good warm up before a session or just a good final K of a run.
Plus a confidence boost from my coach Andy Hobdell. I picked myself up, dusted myself off and got ready to hit training hard again. But not before a catch-up with sports psychologist Josephine Perry.
So I think there's two tricks you can use there. The first one I love for marathon running because it just works so well.
Yeah.
It's called chunking.
Ooh.
So for any of us standing on the start line of 42.2k, yeah, that face says it all, right? It's a scary thing of like, that's a really long way to run. How do I do that? What I find can be really helpful is thinking, actually, it's not 42k, it's 8 and a bit park runs. Yeah. We all know we can run a park run. We all know we can do that without worrying about it, without getting the anxious tummy, without all of those nerves.
Yeah.
And so it works really nicely to break it down. Like, okay, it's 8 park runs, and I know I can do a park run. Yeah. The other thing that can be helpful is being really proactive with the conversation you have with yourself in your head. And so if your self-identity is as a runner, anytime there's a risk to that, your brain's going to be on super high alert. Oh, this is a threat. And so anytime you do any race in the build-up, anytime you do one of those big scary long runs, your brain would much rather you didn't do it. Yeah. Because if you fail, you're proving to yourself you can't do it. Yeah. You're not really a runner.
Yeah.
So you actively have to take into consideration that your brain might be working against you when you go out to do a 30-kilometre run.
Oh. So not only are your legs tired and everything else, but also your brain's working against you as well.
Your brain would much rather you were sitting on the sofa.
Well, yeah. I can understand that. Yeah. That's so interesting because since that long run, so with the chunking stuff, I did my long run on Saturday just gone. And it was run to park run, do park run and run back from park run.
Brilliant.
Which was 25k. So that was actually only 5k shorter than the previous one. But at no point did I feel anything like I did during the previous long run because I was focused on getting to park run. It was a new park run that I was doing. So that was new and exciting and interesting. And there were different people and different paths to look at. And then I was focused on getting home because I was staying away with my girlfriends. And so I wanted to get home for breakfast. So yeah, that's definitely worked a treat.
You chunked it up perfectly there, and you had a goal for each of those chunks. Yeah. Get there, run the park run, get breakfast. So we do max out our motivation at certain points. At that point, we're like, okay, there's not much more I can push here. So what you're trying to do at that point, when you've maxed out the motivation, is reduce the perception of effort, either so you can go faster, or that you can do it with kind of less discomfort. And so there are different tricks we use for that.
Okay.
One of those that's really lovely and really simple, and people like look at me a bit strangely, but it's smiling.
Yeah.
So when we smile, it reduces the perception of effort in our brain about how much we're working. There's some research that shows actually it improves your running efficiency, but I don't know the mechanics behind how that would work. But it'd definitely be really effective.
Yeah.
And there's a lovely piece of research on that they actually did with cyclists in a lab, and they stuck them on turbo trainers. And they were getting them to cycle to exhaustion. And for half of the cyclists, they showed smiley faces, but far too quick that they would actually know that they'd seen them. They flashed up on a screen. And the other half, they showed frowns. And those that saw the smiles were able to cycle 16% longer than those who saw the frowns.
Oh, wow.
So when you're doing your marathon, look for the people in the crowd that smile at you. And making that kind of a goal in your race. So it might be, I'm going to smile every mile. Every time I go through a mile marker. It's a really nice, cute mantra to use.
Smile a mile. I like it.
Yeah.
So it's 8 weeks to go until race day. And I don't know if you can tell by the sound of my voice, but I've hit a bit of a snag. I'm ill. I've woken up this morning feeling, I've got the worst sore throat. I'm really hot and achy. I just have absolutely no energy at all. So I've done a couple of COVID tests and a PCR, and they've all come back negative. So fingers crossed, this is just some virus that will clear up on its own pretty sharpish, because I'm really frustrated. I was really getting in my stride with training, really enjoying it. But sensibly, Coach Andy has prescribed rest and recovery, no running for a few days. Now, I suppose actually it's really important to show this side of training, because you're very lucky if you can get through an entire training block without getting ill and without getting injured. And I know that we have got a bit of leeway built in with the training block that we're doing. So I'm on week 12 of a 19-week build-up since coming back from my calf injury. And so I know I've got a solid base behind me. So a few days off to prioritise rest and recovery to get better isn't going to be the end of the world. And you may have had to have adapted your own training because of illness or injury as well. And it's a really important thing to bear in mind when you're giving yourself time to train for a marathon. So for me now, time to prioritise rest and recovery. I feel like I could sleep for a week because next week it's 7 weeks until race day. So I had a bit of time off training last week. I did manage 7 miles across 2 days, so not an entire week off, but still feels like a bit of a setback, especially as things are going so well. So this week, Andy's easing me back into training. I've got a 30-minute easy today, and touch wood, so far everything feels all right. And then I've got a 10k easy to steady tomorrow. So I'm out running this one in my Boston 10s, my adidas Boston 10s. And if you would like a pair of these boots too, all you have to do is like this video and comment below as well. Are you training for a marathon? Let us know how your training's going, or whatever you're training for, just let us know how your running's going in general. And you could be in with a chance of winning your very own pair. But that didn't actually feel too bad. It felt all right, actually. I was able to consistently manage a 9-minute per mile pace, which is about my easy pace. But looking back at the stats, my heart rate looked and felt a little bit high, actually, for the effort I was putting in. So that could be a sign that whatever it was that was making me feel poorly last week is still hanging around a little bit. So I've got an easy to steady 10k tomorrow, and then a rest day the day after that. So Andy is then going to plan the rest of my week based on how I feel after that. I have just finished a session for the week, which felt really good to get the legs turning over quickly again. So I did 2k warm up, followed by 3 lots of 3 minutes, 2 minute, 1 minute at hard effort, 60 seconds recovery in between, and 3 minutes between sets and then a jog cool down. So yeah, it felt really good to get the legs going, and speed work is so important in marathon training, which to some people might sound a bit odd because marathon running isn't always really fast sprints. Well, it's never really fast sprints, but speed work can improve your running economy and efficiency, which can save precious minutes off your pace during the marathon. And it's important to train at paces above and below your marathon pace, because then come race day, you really have a feel for what your race pace feels like. And the other thing as well is that it breaks up the monotony of marathon training. So rather than getting stuck in a rut of running sort of slower, longer stuff all the time, doing those chunks, like what Josie said in our sports psychology chat about chunking, it just breaks it all up, and before you know it, you've done the session. And also come race day, it makes your marathon pace feel easier because it's not as hard as the eyeballs out hard efforts that you've been doing in the speed work in training too. So it's 6 weeks to go until Berlin Marathon, where I try and run a Boston qualifier, and I've just woken up to the loveliest message from my coach Andy. It just said, 6 weeks to go. You can do this, by the way. And honestly, it just makes such a huge difference knowing that you've got a cheerleader in your corner. So I've been asked quite a few times how I'm feeling about the challenge and about whether I feel ready and how the training's going. And in all honesty, it kind of flips from one day to the next or 1 week to the next, because at times I really think, yeah, I can do this. And then there are other times where I just think, I'm so far away from being able to hold this pace for as long as I need to across a marathon. How on earth am I going to do it? But then again, with 6 weeks to go, I shouldn't really be ready at this stage, because I know that I've still got a lot of training to do, and it's trusting that process that means that you kind of know when you're going to be ready, because you should be peak at race day and not before. So yeah, it gives me a nice confidence boost getting messages like this from Andy. So I did my long run yesterday. So today I've got 30 minutes easy on my running plan, which means I'm going to tag on a bit of strength and conditioning. So I've got my strength and conditioning program from Rich Blagrove that I've been working through, and it's designed specifically around my own imbalances and weaknesses and areas that I need to improve on. But there's plenty in here that will help improve your running too. And let me know in the comments below if you do any strength and conditioning work at the moment. So I have 5 different sets of exercises, all with different focus areas. The first is a movement prep circuit. So that can be done before a gym session that I have as well, or on its own. So it's 2 sets of glute bridges with band clams, hands-free squat, arabesque into high knee, and press up position shoulder touch. They're mostly 10 each side, and there's no recovery between sets. The second one is barefoot conditioning, and is so easy to do at home. So when Rich monitored my abilities back in June, he found that there were some areas of my feet and ankles that were weaker than others. For example, my right ankle and my left big toe. So these exercises are all done in bare feet, and you can pretty much do them anywhere. This circuit is rotate on one leg on the spot, clockwise and anti-clockwise. Toe scrunch, you can do that with a towel if you want. Toe walk through the big toe, heel walk, ball of foot walk, and active plant walk. Although my coordination on this one isn't up to scratch, so I've got the static version. There's 2 sets to do, with 2 minutes recovery between each set. You'll see that some of these exercises focus on being on one leg. When you're running, you're spending a lot of time on one leg, and that's why balance and single leg strength and conditioning is so important to runners. You do these barefoot to strengthen the foot and increase your ankle flexibility. Woo! So that is my strength and conditioning circuit done. I feel pumped and full of good endorphins and really focused now on my goal, ready to work as hard as I can over the next few weeks and see what my body is capable of come race day. I feel like I've got loads more tools in my armory now, thanks to Josie as well, and those pep talks from Coach Andy. So let's see what happens come race day, I suppose. Still got a little way to go in training though. So how's your marathon training going if you're training for one? Or have you got any questions for me about anything that I've covered or suggestions of what you'd like to see next time, please tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of Quarantine to Qualifier here on the Running Channel.